Hi everyone. So I'm here today to tell you about why counting calories is getting you nowhere for weight loss and what you should do instead. So this is a topic that I get really wound up about because I see various people posting things on social media and writing in magazines about how you should be counting calories, and that unless you count calories and unless you're in a calorie deficit, then you won't be losing weight or you won't be able to lose weight. And there's a lot of problems with this calorie deficit hypothesis. The research doesn't necessarily back that up. What I see in clinic doesn't back it up. And what my clients tell me when they come to see me is usually that they have cut down and cut down and cut down on what they are eating, and they are still not losing weight. So I can tell you for sure that counting calories is not, it sometimes works, but it is a very, very small part of a very, very big picture when you are trying to lose weight. And you do not necessarily have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. And there's a very good reason why counting calories doesn't work for a lot of people. So I'm going to get into that. First of all, I want to make sure that you guys can hear me okay, that you can see me okay. So please just let me know, give me a thumbs up if you're watching, let me know that you're here, say hello, and also any questions at all as we go through, then just pop your questions in the comments. And if there's anything that you're confused about or anything that really resonates with you, then let me know in the comments as well. So the first thing that I want to explain is something called metabolic downregulation. So this is what happens when you count calories, and the best way to explain it is to give you an example. So let's say that you eat 2,000 calories a day, and at that intake of calories you are maintaining your weight. So you want to lose weight, so you decide that you're going to cut down to 1,500 calories a day. What typically happens is you start to lose weight, you lose a little bit of weight, but then things slow down and the weight loss stops. And the reason why that happens is because your body compensates for the lack of energy coming into your body. So your body will not keep expending the same amount of energy when it's not getting enough energy coming in. Because if you keep burning more energy than you're taking in, then eventually you will starve. So your body isn't going to allow that to happen. So what it does is it down-regulates your energy expenditure, and that means that you stop producing, or you start producing less energy in your muscles, your thyroid starts to slow down, your body produces less heat, so you start to feel the cold a little bit more, and so there's less energy being produced. So now you start maintaining your weight at 1,500 calories rather than at 2,000 calories. And usually at that point, what most people do is they cut down a little bit more. And so they might go down to a 1,200 calorie diet. And again, they start losing weight, but it slows down again because their metabolism is down regulating to compensate for the lack of calories coming in. So now you're maintaining a weight at 1,200 calories. And this is usually the point that people come to me because they're having a bit of a crisis, because they can't lose weight and they're eating barely anything. And what also often happens at that point is that people give up. They go back to what they were doing before 2,000 calories, and then they're gaining weight at 2,000 calories. And that's because the metabolism has dropped and that doesn't just undo when you go back to how you were eating before. So the metabolic downregulation that occurs when you cut calories out of your diet for, more than a few days is not something that just goes back to normal. It's something that takes a very long time to reset. So that's why counting calories will not work in the long term, because your body will keep down regulating to match the calories that are coming in. And that's why when you do a calorie counting diet, which by the way is all of the popular diets out there, whether it's Weight Watchers or Slimming World or low carb or low fat, the majority of them are simply a calorie counting diet that's just been jazzed up a little bit. So, whatever diet it is, if the underlying principle is calorie restriction, then yes, you might lose a little bit of weight, but you're going to put that weight back on because you can't keep up with your metabolism down regulating. So when you come away from that diet, or if you have a treat, or say you go on holiday, the weight will pile back on because your metabolism won't speed up with the change in diet, not straight away. So metabolic downregulation is a real thing that occurs when you start restricting your calories, and that is the reason why calorie counting will not work in the long run. And there's more to that as well. So your calorie requirements change every single day. You might put into your fitness app your weight and your age, and it will tell you roughly how many calories you should be eating a day. But the thing is, there are lots of things that affect how many calories you should be eating per day. Things like how well you slept last night, and how active you're going to be today, and how well hydrated you are, and the types of food that you eat, whether you have any nutritional deficiencies, whether you've got a thyroid problem, whether your gut bacteria is balanced. All of these things affect your metabolic rate, and therefore affects this energy balance of how many calories you should be eating to maintain your weight. So, as I said, the calorie counting is an extremely small part of a very big picture. So yes, sometimes if nothing else seems to work, then being in a slight calorie deficit, and I really mean a slight calorie deficit, might be something that we focus on. But generally, there's a reason why you might be struggling to lose weight, and that's going to be because of an underlying imbalance, which we'll come on to talk about in just a second. But the other thing that I want to say about calorie counting, one of the big problems with it, is that it completely ignores the quality of the food that you're eating. So typically, low calorie foods, when you look at a packet and it says 100 calorie snack pack, or if it says it's low in calories, then it's usually very poor quality. And what I mean by that is that it's not very nutrient dense. So it tends to be the higher calorie foods that are very rich in nutrients and have more vitamins and minerals. So for example, carbohydrates are pretty low calorie compared to your sort of fattier foods or higher protein foods. So carbs are low calorie essentially. So when you buy something that is advertised as being low calorie, it's usually a carbohydrate based food or snack. And carbohydrates aren't particularly nutritious compared to fattier foods. So for example, if you were going to be snacking on nuts, seeds, olives, avocado, they're really quite high calorie foods, but they're really nutritious as well, and they keep you full up. So you can have a small amount of these fattier foods and they will keep you more satisfied, they will give you more nutrients, and they'll keep your blood sugar balanced, which means that you won't feel cravings later on. Whereas if you have the lower carb option, the higher carb option, which is lower calorie, then it's not going to keep going for very long, because we burn up carbohydrates really quickly. It's going to be much lower in nutrients, and it's probably going to make your blood sugar go quite high, which means it will go quite low afterwards. And that is when you feel hungry, irritated, have cravings. So, whilst there might be less calories in a higher carb option, actually you're probably going to end up eating more later on. So, the quality of the food is completely ignored when you are simply looking at the number of calories in that food item. So you're much better off when you're looking at foods is to make sure that it's a rich source of protein, that it's a quality rich source of fats, and that it's got some sort of fiber in there as well. Ignore the calories, because it really doesn't tell you anything about how healthy that food is. And quite a good example of this is things like, if you look at lentil crisps, chickpea crisps, vegetable crisps, things like muesli bars or protein bars, they are things that are advertised as healthy. So for example, the crisps, yes, they're healthier than your standard packet of crisps, and there are more nutrients in there, but the calories are pretty much the same, and they affect your blood sugar in the same way. And so, they're not going to be serving you in the long run. And, like a muesli bar as well, often they are loaded with sugar. Yes, they're lower in calories, but the sugar content is really high, and that usually leads you to wanting to eat more later on. So that kind of leads us onto the question of what should you be doing then? If you shouldn't be counting calories, what should you be doing? So I've kind of mentioned that, you should be looking at the fats and the protein in the product and making sure that it's rich in both of those and it's got a good source of fiber. But, what you want to be achieving overall is you want to make sure that your diet is addressing the underlying causes of the cause of the weight gain. So, overeating isn't what causes weight gain. It's inflammation, it's blood sugar imbalance, it's hormonal imbalances. And hormone is a word that we associate with things like estrogen and progesterone and testosterone. But actually, there's a massive group of things that are classed as hormones. So, for example, insulin and glucagon and all of your brain chemicals are hormones as well. There's your thyroid hormones, your stress hormones. All of these things have a really big bearing on your weight management and your metabolism and what your body does with the energy that you take into your body. So if you are inflamed, if you've got a high level of inflammation in your body, then that is a real barrier to weight loss. So some signs that you might be inflamed in some way are symptoms like, and there's a lot of symptoms that could come under this category, but things like intolerance type symptoms. So if you've got any inflamed skin or red skin, eczema, hives, psoriasis, any type of autoimmune condition, whether it's Hashimoto's thyroiditis or lupus or rheumatoid arthritis, they're all inflammatory conditions, whether it's diabetes, whether it's IBS, whether it's asthma, all of these things, pretty much every chronic condition is inflammatory. So if you have some sort of symptom like this, as well as struggling to lose weight, then it's it's pretty much a sign that there's probably some sort of underlying inflammation. So inflammation is a real barrier to weight loss. Blood sugar, I've mentioned, and blood sugar is something that people think, oh, blood sugar, diabetes, but it's much more applicable to more people than just diabetics. So if you're someone who finds that they need to eat every few hours, if you get shaky, if you don't eat, if you have to really be careful about the foods that you eat to prevent your blood sugar crashing, if you find yourself getting hangry, then these are all signs that you might have a blood sugar imbalance. And blood sugar imbalance basically means that you kind of spend quite a lot of your time in fat storage mode, and your blood sugar crashes down quite a lot in between times. So there's quite a lot of symptoms associated with blood sugar imbalance, but those are just the key ones that I've mentioned there. But if your blood sugar is too high, then your insulin level will be high, and insulin is your fat storage hormone. So every time you eat something, it makes your blood sugar increase, and the extent to which that happens depends on the types of foods that you're eating. So if you're eating foods that are making your blood sugar increase and you're eating regularly, or eating those foods regularly, then you're going to be spending the majority of your time in fat storage mode. So that's another real key barrier to losing weight. And then the last one I mentioned is the hormonal imbalances. So this could be things like having a sex hormone imbalance, having underactive thyroid, having high stress hormone levels. It also ties in with the blood sugar balance. It could be that your brain chemicals are imbalanced. All of these things affect the way that you store your fat and burn your fat. So, those three things, inflammation, blood sugar balance, and hormonal imbalances, are the key things to get sorted before you will be able to lose weight in a way that is sustainable and isn't just going to pile straight back on the second you have a treat or a holiday. So getting those underlying issues addressed is the only way to achieve long-lasting weight loss. And something that I've mentioned in previous videos is that weight loss diets have a success rate of 5%. So what that means is that 5% of people who lose weight on a weight loss diet actually maintain that weight loss. So it's a really dire statistic. And, that's why I've been working on this online program, which you might have seen me promote before. But this program is a 12-week program that's completely online, and it is targeted at addressing these underlying imbalances so that you can get healthy, nourish your body, and then the weight loss is a pleasant side effect. So obviously there are strategies in the program which are all about helping you to lose weight, but the underpinning of the program is about addressing inflammation, balancing blood sugar, and balancing sex hormones as well, and also just educating you so that you know how you should eat and how you can deal with situations where you might not be able to eat the types of things that you want, and whether that's okay, and how alcohol can fit into a healthy life, and what can you eat instead of the bad things or the things that are not so nutritious. So the program has got everything that you need to really properly understand how to lose weight and keep the weight off. So if you want to know any more about that program, please drop your comments or your questions in the comment section, and I'm going to put a link to the program in the comment section. Feel free to send me a private message if you want to ask more questions. Let me know. And if you've got any questions about anything that I've spoken about in this video, then let me know, and feel free to give me a like or a thumbs up or even a share just to help me spread the message. That'd be great. Okay, so thank you for watching everyone, and I'll see you all real soon. Bye bye.